attach it to Krishna consciousness. If somebody is very enthusiastic, he loves to fight and all, use it, use. You have so much of uh, power to show. Okay, show that power to those who are criticizing the movement. Use it. So a temple president is one who is expert in using all type of people in Krishna consciousness. All type of people come. Variety people come. Use everyone in Krishna consciousness. Use oneself also, use others also in Krishna consciousness. Everybody's temperament is different. Everybody's natures are also different. Not that one who enters the temple immediately is purified. Purification process has started. When we do Krishna, when we chant the holy name, what happens? In fact, that person looks more dirty. All his dirtiness comes out. Because when it is a closed room, I was not understanding there is a dirt. When I started brooming, oh, so much of dirt. The room which is closed for years and years, when you see, first you open, you'll find everything is nice. You start brooming, the dust comes. The same way. This closed consciousness, how many years, how many lifetimes it was closed? Somebody came and opened the lock, and Cheto Darpana Marjanam has started. So when the cleaning starts, at that time only you can see all the dirt. At that time, by mistake, we say, hey, Bhakti, what happens? Bichara, what he is doing? He started brooming now. So then the dirt will be seen. The dirt which was hidden was not seen. It will be seen. But one thing is appreciable. At least he is Krishna conscious. He's chanting the holy name. So one should not disturb the ignorant. In fact, a learned person should not even tell them stop the work. No. He should be so expert in engaging them in all sort of activities. Okay. Vijay Prabhu, please read both the verses.
त्यक्ता कर्मण्य विदांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्यात् विद्वांस तथा शक्तः चिकीर्षु लोकसंग्रहम्. As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to results, the learned may similarly act, but without attachment for the sake of leading people on the right path. Purport. A person in Krishna consciousness and a person not in Krishna consciousness are differentiated by different desires. A Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not conducive to development of Krishna consciousness. He may even act exactly like the ignorant person who is too much attached to the material activities, but one is engaged in such activities for the satisfaction of his sense gratification, whereas the other is engaged in the for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, the conscious person is required to show the people how to act and how to engage the results of action for the purpose of Krishna consciousness. Na buddhi bedam janayet janayet ajnanam karma sanginam joshayet sarva karmani vidwan yuktaha samacharan. So as not to disturb the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness. Purport. Vedaischa sarvaya aham eva vedya. That is the end of all Vedic rituals. All rituals are performed of sacrifices and everything that is put into the Vedas, including all direction for material activities, are meant for understanding Krishna, who is the ultimate goal of life. But because the conditioned souls do not know anything beyond sense gratification, they study the Vedas to that end. But through fruitive activities and sense gratification regulated by the Vedic rituals, one is gradually elevated to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a realized soul in Krishna consciousness should not disturb others in their activities or understanding, but he should act by showing how the results of all work can be dedicated to the services of Krishna. The learned, conscious person may act in such a way that the ignorant person working for sense gratification may learn how to act and how to behave. Although the ignorant man is not to be disturbed in his activities, a slightly developed Krishna conscious person may directly be engaged in the service of the Lord without waiting for other Vedic formulas. For this fortunate man, there is no need to follow the Vedic rituals because by direct Krishna consciousness, one can have all the results one should otherwise derive from following one's prescribed duties. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Next. प्रकृते क्रियकर्माणि गुणे कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार मूढ़ात्मा कर्ताहम् इति मन्यते. तो प्रकृतेः क्रियकर्मणौ प्रकृते क्रियकर्माणि. Prakriti means his body is made up of this material nature. Gune karmani, all the activities are done with the help of these modes. These modes are doing the work. His body is functioning because of the modes of material nature. Now, if the body starts having ahankar, I am the one who is doing everything. Now, body can have ahankara. The soul also can have ahankara. The soul is influenced by the false ego, considering himself the doer of the activities. And then here it is said, actually, who is doing? The three modes of material nature is doing. Prakrute Kriya Karmani, everything is happening because of the three modes of material nature. Ahankara Vimudhatma, the soul starts saying, I have done, I have done, I have done. The Lord says, wait, let us find out who has done. So, who is the real doer? I am eating Rasgulla. Okay. Who is eating? Body is eating, soul is eating, body is eating. Who is eating Gauranga? Body is eating, soul is eating, or Lord is eating?
Body is eating.
Body is dead matter. Body can say, I am a dead matter. How can I eat? How can the body eat? Okay. The soul, now three are also doers. Write down this very nicely. Three are also doers. Three are doers. At the same time, three are non-doers. Three are doers, three are non-doers. So this verse speaks about how the soul considers itself the doer, whereas the body is the doer. This verse speaks about the body being the doer. Okay, because the modes of material nature are doing the work, na? So this speaks about body being the doer. One. The three modes of material nature are doing the work. Now, one second. I'm getting with the verse, which speaks about the soul being the doer. 7.27. The soul being the doer. इच्छा द्वेष समुत्थेन द्वंद्व मोहेन भारत सर्वभूतानि सम्मोहं सर्गे यान्ति परन्तप. So all the living entities are born because of their own desires. So the soul desired, that is why the body became the instrument. Barabar? I desired, na, that is why the body became the instrument. Now open 13th chapter, 23rd verse. 20. उपद्रष्टानुमंता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वर परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहेस्मिन् पुरुष पर. Upadrashta Anumanta. Who is the permitter? It is Lord who is the permitter. It is said, a blade of grass does not move without the permission of Lord. Lord has permitted, then only it can happen. Now all three become the doers. Everybody says, I have done, I have done, I have done. When it is something very wonderful, all try to take the credit. Lord says, hey, I have given permission. Soul says, I desire. Body says, I was the instrument. Now something is wrong. Same thing happens in the office also. If something is good, appreciating is there, everybody says, I have done. If the child gets less marks, the mother says, not my son, your son. The father says, no, no, he is your son. When something wrong happens, then nobody wants to take the credit. Same thing is at the level of even soul, body, and heart. Something wrong, then the body says, I am dead matter, what I have to do. Soul says, anyhow, I do not belong to this material world, I am eternal. I belong to the spiritual world. And Lord says, what I have to do with all of you? Your karmas and you. Something wrong, Krishna does not take the blame. Something wonderful, yes, because of Krishna's anugrah. If something wrong happens in your life or something in others' life, will you blame Lord? At the time, what the person says, no, no, it is only because of their karmas. So in this way, the soul says, what I have to do? Body says, anyhow, I am dead matter. So three are also doers, three are also not doers. So these verses you write down so that you will remember when these verses come, that how the soul is at the level of desire, the soul desires, and then the Lord permits, body becomes the instrument. Okay. So here 27th verse is, the body says, I am the doer. Three modes of material nature says, I am the doer. Okay. Gaurang,
प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारः विमूढात्मा कर्ताहम् इति मन्यते. Translation: the spirit soul bewildered by the influence of false ego thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. Purport: two persons, one in Krishna consciousness and the other in material consciousness, working on the same level, may appear to be working on the same platform, but there is a wide gulf of difference in their respective positions. The person in material consciousness is convinced by false ego that he is the doer of everything. He does not know that the mechanism of the body is produced by material nature, which works under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. The materialistic person has no knowledge that ultimately he is under the control of Krishna. The person in false ego takes all credit for doing everything independently, and that is a symptom of his nescience. He does not know that this gross and subtle body is the creation of material nature, under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such his bodily and mental activities should be engaged in the service of Krishna and Krishna consciousness. The ignorant man forgets that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Rishikesha, or the master of the senses of the material body. For due to his long misuse of the senses and sense gratification, he is factually bewildered by the false ego, which makes him forget his eternal relationship with Krishna. Thank you, right?
Okay. Next one now. So remember this verse, okay? 27th. Like that, 7.27 and 13.23. Somebody asks who is a doer, you should know all these three verses. Where three are also referred as doer. But when it comes to non-doer, yes, both are eternal, God and soul. And anyhow, the body is a dead matter. So how will the body do any work? Okay, 3 are also doers, 3 are also non-doers. तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्मविभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते. Tattvavittu. We have come across this word Tattvadarshi. Just see 2 point Nasako Vidyate Bhav 2.13. Just see where Tattvavitta has been spoken. Nasako 2.16 Tattvadarshi. Here Tattvavittu. So right in somewhere you write down about learned souls have been spoken. Tattvavittu, Tattvadarshi. They are all learned souls. So what a learned soul? How is a learned soul? When he sees Asat, he knows what is the nature of Asat. Asat is not permanent. How is Sat? Sat is not changeable. That means Sat is permanent. Now here about Tattvavitu is spoken. Tattvavitu Mahabaho Gunakarma Vibhagayu. All the activities are only under the direction of material influence. He knows this. That is why, because of the material influences, he also knows the difference between sense gratification and engagement in Krishna consciousness. See, anyhow, the sense objects are there, senses are there. Now, what is the difference between using the sense objects for sense gratification, using the sense objects for Krishna's pleasure? So, one becomes devotion, one becomes fruitive results. One becomes karma, one becomes akarma. One becomes akarma, vikarma, whatever, and one becomes akarma, where the center is Krishna. So, anyhow, the modes come in contact with the sense objects. That is why he does not engage the senses in sense gratification. Because he knows one will be bound. He knows the difference. Work in devotion and work for fruitive results. Understand? Objects are there. Vishaya Vastu is there. How to utilize it? For whose sake? You should understand it very nicely. Okay? Anupama, read. Next verse. Anupama, read.
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयो गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते. One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, O mighty armed, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the differences between work in devotion and work for fruitive results. Perfect. The knower of the absolute truth is convinced of his awkward position in material association. He knows that he is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and that his position should not be in the material creation. He knows his real identity as part and parcel of the Supreme, who is eternal bliss and knowledge. And he realizes that somehow or other he is entrapped in the material conception of life. In his pure state of existence, he is meant to dovetail his activities in devotional service to Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. He therefore engages himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness and becomes naturally unattached to the activities of material senses, which are all circumstantial and temporary. He knows that his material condition of life is under the supreme control of Lord. Consequently, he is not disturbed by all kinds of material reactions, which he considers to be the mercy of the Lord. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, one who knows the absolute truth in 3 different natures, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and Supreme Personality of Godhead, is called Tattvavit, for he knows also his own factual position in relationship with the Supreme.
Okay, next. प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढा सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृष्णविदो मन्दान् कृष्णविन्नः विचालयेत्. Every verse is so beautiful. Prakruter guna sammudha. Sammudha means what? Sampurna rupena mudha. Completely bewildered. So because of that, what happens? An ignorant, he gets engaged. Guna karma, so the midnight. Akrisna vidaha, the poor fund of knowledge. Mandan, he doesn't want to understand self-realization. He's not interested. He's having Akritsna vidoho, vidah. That means he is ignorant person. He doesn't want to have self-realization. But one who is in knowledge does not educate him. Should I tell with a practical example? It will go in the brains then. 4 to 5 days before a child is born, right? And the child has been clearly said, this child is going to not live much and will suffer more. Okay. So when learned person says that, but still, no, try to save the child. Take the sufferings. Child is suffering, father is suffering, everyone suffering. You say, no, how can we leave the child like that? Nitya suffering. Or just contemplating on all these things. When the Acharya says, when our authorities say something, one should hear it, not take a jhanda and say, no, we want to say. Now, see, if that fortune is, yes, let me obey to whatever our Acharya says, and the suffering is minimized. But if we think that, no, we are smart enough to do many things, don't suffer, isn't it? Just a newborn child having a cancerous tumor. The tumor is not diagnosed as cancer, but just see, from here one hole, from stomach one hole, from here one hole. What is a vetha? What is a vetha? From here the food is going, from here the breathing is there, from here the gases are coming out. How many holes in the body? So that is why one has to consult our gurus. When our guru says, just take the child, give in the hands of the mother. Just obey. If one obeys, for 1 minute it will be very difficult. But nitya suffering, every day suffering. But what? One should not do any chela. Let them. You don't agitate. Okay. If your karmas are like that, so, the karmas are like that. Nobody can do anything. Everybody plays with their own karmas only. And now if somebody wants to suffer, then what you can? Like my mother, I was just telling you, come to temple, all will be here. No, wants to suffer alone, suffer. If somebody wants to suffer, you cannot stop them suffering. Your concern is only a waste of time, a futile attempt. Waste of time. That is why not to do any cheda chedi. Do 1 time, 2 time advice. After that, dandavat pranam. Because Krishna is there anyhow. He protects everyone. He gives buddhi also. He also does not agitate. He does not come in between anything. We can only do some prayers. That is our bhava. How much the prayers will reach and all, that is all to Krishna and their karmas. See, we can only give what we have. We have some bhava, we can give that much bhava. So this is the thing. An ignorant person is so attached. In spite of knowing also, they don't want to listen. Like it's a nice story. Chitra, or why immediately went up? I'll tell. There was a king. I had told this story in between. What is the name? Gauranga, if you can remember. It starts with Chitta. 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 Immediately came and it just went. Name came. Okay, there was a king. Angira Rishi comes and tells what blessings you want. So this person says, I want a son. He says, see, the son will be the cause of lamentation also and the cause of suffering also. I told this story in between Bhagavad Katha. The name starts with C. So then he said, no. I want. He can you want take what a person can do. Now Angira Rishi told you will get a son. You who will be the cause of your happiness also and suffering also. Now just see what was taken. Choosy. It's known as selective hearing. You will only hear what you want to hear. But you don't want to hear which is not good. Chitraketu. His name is Chitraketu. You don't want to hear which is not fit for hearing. You will only hear whatever is good. So Angira Rishi did that. Chitraketu. Find the Bhagavatam. So then after Angira Rishi went, Chitraketu actually had married many queens. He had many queens, many wives there. And none of them had any child. Now when this child is born, the lady is pregnant. He's so much happy with the first wife. And what happened? Other wives became envious. Yeah. Not Gokarna. It's Chitraketu only. Not Gokarna. Now, Chitraketu, what happened was this person started putting attention in this wife. Child is born. More happy. More wonderful position for that wife. Others all envious. What to do? They all put poison in this child. The child was dead. I was lamenting. Same Angira Rishi comes again. He says, Narada also comes. He says, when prediction was given, this was clearly told with the cause of lamentation also. But you were very much selective in hearing. We can bring a child's life back. So they bring. And the child speaks. Who was I in your past life? Who am I going to be in your next life? I have nothing to do with you. You are only a so-called father. So in this way, the knowledge is given by this child. So this attachment, overly attachment, the ignorant people have. So what an ignorant person should do? Not agitate. Just leave it. Okay. Chandrapati Prabhu, can you read if you are free? Or Sonal will read. No? Yes, Sonal will read this.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. Shlok number 29. प्रकृतिर्गुणसम्मूढः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत्. Translations and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached. But the wise should not unsettle them. Although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge. Purport. Persons who are unknowledgeable falsely identify with gross material consciousness and are full of material designations. This body is a gift of the material nature, and one who is too much attached to the bodily consciousness is called manda, or a lazy person, without understanding of spirit soul. Ignorant men think of the body as a self. They accept bodily connections with others as kinsmanship. The land in which the body is obtained is their object of worship, and they consider the formalities of religious rituals to be ends in themselves. Social work, nationalism, and altruism are some of the activities for such materially designated persons. Under the spell of such designations, they are always busy in the material field. For them, spiritual realization is a myth, and so they are not interested. Those who are enlightened in spiritual life, however, should not try to agitate such materially engrossed persons. Better to prosecute one's own spiritual activities silently. Such bewildered persons may be engaged in such primary moral principles of life as non-violence and similar materially benevolent work. Men who are ignorant cannot appreciate activities in Krishna consciousness, and therefore Lord Krishna advises us not to disturb them and simply waste valuable time. But the devotees of the Lord are more kind than the Lord because they understand the purpose of the Lord. Consequently, they undertake all kinds of risks, even to the point of approaching ignorant men to try to engage them in the acts of Krishna consciousness, which are absolutely necessary for the human being. Hare Krishna, Mother. Thank you.
Next verse. Very important verse. Gita Sar. The essence of Gita. Gita Sar. मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसः निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युद्धस्व विगतज्वरः. Krishna has told to fight युद्धस्व. But how? मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि, do all the activities for me. Everybody has the prescribed duties. Just do activities for me. Sannyasya adhyatmachetasaha sannyasya. Sannyasa. That means give up completely. With how? With full knowledge of me. With full consciousness. Completely surrender your activities to me. Sannyasya. Completely surrender the activities to Lord. With full Krishna consciousness. Nirashir. Don't have any asha. Nirashir. Nirmamaha. Don't think that I am the doer. Bhutva. Yuddhasva vikatajwaraha. At the same time, do not be lethargic. Just because you are not the owner, you have no expectation. And a person can be lethargic, isn't it? Jwaraha means what? Fever. In fever, how you become lethargic? You don't want to do anything. You just want to take rest. Oh, I'm not the owner. I'm not going to get anything. Okay, why should I do a work? For whose sake should I do work? I should do work for Krishna. It's more important. Doing work for Lord is more important. So, Mayi Sarvani Karmani, give all the activities. That means all the fruits of activities goes to Krishna only. Sannyasya Chetasa. Adhyatma Chetasa. Our consciousness should be only in Krishna. It's very important. And in this way, Nirashir, Nirmama Bhutva, Yuddhasva Vigatajvara. Vigata means give up. Give up lethargy. Lethargic means what? The mood of not doing the work. Laziness. I don't want to do anything. Nothing belongs to me, then why I should do? Diya read.
Hare Krishna. मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरा. Translation. Therefore, vigatajvara. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works onto me, with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. Purport. This verse clearly indicates the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties, as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. Arjuna was therefore ordered by Sri Krishna to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the goodwill of the Supreme Lord, and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord. He had only to execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatma Chetasa. Nirashi means that one has to act on the order of the Master, but should not expect fruitive results. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is the real purport of Mai, or unto me. And when one acts in such Krishna consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called nirmama, or nothing is mine. And if there is any reluctance to execute such a stern order, which is without consideration of so called kinsmen in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one may become Vigata Jwara, or without feverish mentality or lethargy. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness as described above. That will lead to the path of liberation. Hare Krishna.
Okay, next verse. ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो अनसूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः. So who becomes mucyante? Mucyante means who becomes liberated from all the activities, from the bondage. Ye me matamidam. Whoever follows my injunction, simple. Whoever follows my injunction becomes free. And then, ye me matam idam. Nityam. Nityam means regularly. Anutishtanti. He regularly executes such manava. How is he? Shraddhavanta. He has faith and devotion. Anusuyanta. He is without envy. So he just follows the instructions. He has faith, he has devotion, he has no enviousness. You cannot be envious of your authorities. See? Your guru, you cannot be envious of the guru. You cannot be envious of Krishna. So whoever follows the instructions, simple, they become free from the bondage. Okay. For that, one should have that much faith. That much faith. I'll not name a personality. You all know him, but I'll not name. I'll not disclose. I will just share the case study. There are case studies. In my 30 years of preaching, I have seen many case studies. The case study goes like this: very dedicated in the temple, but somehow because of what life impressions, got stuck in a wrong path, and practically that person would have been dead. But somehow that 2-3 years of just leaving the temple and going somewhere, You would have been caught in a very big mess. But one day also he did not miss in this YouTube hearing and all that much concern, that much devotion, that much Shraddha is there. You'd have been stuck in a big, big mess. There's one word, give up everything and come. Okay. And today's life is successful. I've seen many cases, and there are cases we tell they think that we have some motives. We don't have any motives. I listen to whatever my Shiksha Guru says. Many of my students listen to whatever I say. There are some who don't want to listen. We cannot just be behind them. I listen to my Shiksha Guru, he listens to his Guru. In this way, this parampara goes. We just have to follow whatever authorities say. They don't have any motives behind what they inject or what they want to give instructions, isn't it? So here also the same thing. Without any doubt, one should just listen. One will always progress in devotional service. Okay. This will be the last verse for today. Chandrapati Prabhu, are you free? You can read.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
31st.
I'll read. Yeah, Mataji. 31st.
ये मे मतम इदं नित्यम्
ये मे मतम् इदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवा श्रद्धावन्तो अनुसूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते अपि अनुसूयन्तो न सूयन्तो मुच्यन्ते अपि कर्मभिः. Those persons who execute their duties
मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मिभिः मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मिभिः
मुच्यन्ते अपि कर्मभिः.
मुच्यन्ते again te is there मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः
ते अच्छा मुच्यन्ते ते अपि कर्मभिः. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of rotative actions. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The injunctions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom and therefore is eternally true without exception. As the Vedas are eternal, so this truth of Krishna consciousness is also eternal. One should have firm faith in this injunction without envying the Lord. There are many philosophers who write comments on the Bhagavad Gita but have no faith in Krishna. They will never be liberated from the bondage of fruitive action, but an ordinary man with firm faith in the eternal injunctions of the Lord, even though unable to execute such orders, becomes liberated from the bondage of the law of karma. In the beginning of Krishna consciousness, one may not fully discharge the injunctions of the Lord, but because one is not resentful of this principle and works sincerely without consideration of defeat and hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. Thank you. Hare Krishna Mataji.
here will stop. Any questions you have? Yeah. Sonal, you are not able to unmute.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Actually, Mataji, I had a question. As we already read in this, that a Jeev gets a body as per what they want, right? So, in the case which you mentioned about a child, so child wants to come as a human being, right? But then the child is suffering so much that it's not even living, it is not even dying. How do we understand this?
So your voice was broken. Yes.
Yeah,
So
Mataji, the child,
last
Jiva
line was
wants to
what?
come.
Okay.
Hello.
What is the last line?
Yeah, I said,
Question is
I no, I said Jiva wants to get a particular type of a body and then gets that body, right? So if a Jiva wants to come as a human being and it is coming as a human being, but then because of is not able to survive, not even dying, not even living. How do we understand that?
Hmm. So what is the question?
Question is that what is the point of that life coming in? If well, it is not even
Yeah,
surviving, it is
karma.
not even
See, it is
dying,
not
then
just
what was the
particular.
purpose?
It is not a particular entity's karma. It is the karma for everyone. Na? Everyone is suffering. Na? It is the karma of everyone. That is why when the solution is given, one should follow it. Simple. See, there are at different levels astrological charts at different levels. And when a devotee gives a solution, one should listen that. Like my Shaksha Guru gave the solution. Just remove the child. Give in the mother's lap. Just remove. There are different astrologers. There are 4 or 5 astrologers, including your cousin also, friend also. I don't know. So everybody gave. But this type of solution giving, see, one is reading, many read, but Tattvadarshi, Tattvavitu, what they do, they give us strong solution. Don't encourage, simple. Don't do. But still, if he has to suffer, then what to do? If somebody has to suffer, you cannot do it.
Doesn't it come to destiny? Mataji, then this is the hand of destiny because that person is not listening and
What
wants to
happens?
suffer. It is part
No,
of it.
destiny, yes. See, that not listening also comes in the part of destiny only. Na? Everything comes from there only it starts. Na? The buddhi does not allow a person to listen. Simple. Okay? So stop.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
दर्शक पास देव चतुर्थ पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः वैष्णवेभ्यो